welcome, Dumelang, Abusheni, Molweni. Welcome to the Dear Young Leaders Program Information Session. My name is Malatsi. I'm your host for the session, and I'm an alumnus of the Dear Young Leaders Program. During this special broadcast, our guest and I will take you through our own individual experiences on the Dear Young Leaders Program, and will hopefully answer any lingering questions you might have about the program. So if you haven't applied yet, please apply at our website, www.youngleaders.org.za. And if you're still waiting on the fence, hopefully by the end of this session, you will have been persuaded to apply. And just a reminder that this broadcast is all available on all our social media channels. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share our Facebook and YouTube channels with your friends and family. And if you have any questions, you can contact us on our WhatsApp hotline at 063 991 8375. But before I jump in, I want to briefly introduce my fellow panelists who are also alumni of the Dear Young Leaders Program. We have Councillor Carli van Wyk, who's the Mayoral Committee Member for Planning in Stellenbosch Municipality. And from the Western Cape, we have Minister Reagen, who's the MEC for Community Safety and Police Oversight. All the way in Gauteng, we've got Councillor Khathutshelo, Rasilingwane, who is a councillor in the city of Ekurhuleni. And from KZN, we are joined by Mayor Pappas, who is the DA's mayor in uMngeni Municipality. And all of them are joining us here for this important discussion that we'll be having for the next several minutes. But perhaps let's start with Reagen. The Western Cape government is doing some groundbreaking work to improve community safety and enhance police oversight. Can you just briefly give us insights into your role into it and how the program prepared you to do this important job you are doing?
Thank you so much, Solly. If I connected dots moving backward, I would not have been able to do what I'm doing now if it was not for the Dear Young Leaders Program. In our cabinet, out of the 10 cabinet ministers or MECs, 4 are former Dear Young Leaders, wow, which is 40%. And within a caucus of 24, there's 7 Dear Young Leaders within that particular group. Wow. Our Deputy Chief worked together with chairpersons of standing committees within our caucus. So it's amazing. But if I track back and looking at what I'm doing now as the MEC for Police Oversight and Community Safety, the learnings, the training, the experience I've gotten during that year has been so valuable, because we do know that safety or the lack of safety hinders people from living a life that they truly want to or need to live. So hence we are stepping up. The Western Cape Safety Plan is a whole of government approach where we are adding extra boots on the ground outside of our mandate, but also making sure that we look at violence prevention, we look at the root causes of crime in order to make sure that Nanga, for example, is no longer the murder capital in South Africa because of the intervention from the Western Cape government. So I'm delighted to be speaking to viewers, and I trust that you will enjoy this broadcast, because the Dear Young Leaders Program is truly a remarkable and a very needed program for young people.
And thanks for the important work that you're doing to improve community safety, because it's much needed and it shows the DA's difference. But we'll get into that much later. I just want to find out from all 4 of you, what was so important about the Young Leaders Program that attracted you into applying for the program?
Well,
yeah, let's start with Carli.
Well, I'll start as well. Thank you, Solly. And it's wonderful to be here. I think the reason I applied was so clear, because if you just look at our country and the rest of outside of Western Cape, there's a lot of issues we have in our country. And as a leader, I want to make a difference. And I saw this program, even while I was still a student, but I can be able to make a difference by getting the training, getting empowerment through the Dear Young Leaders Program, because there's no program like this, specifically training for political landscape, but also to be a change agent in our country like this program.
And for you, Khathutshelo?
So for me, I had been following this a political program for the longest time in my political career, and the caliber of leaders that this program has produced in years, where really are important people that are inspiring in their different roles that they play within the party. So for me, I realized that this is the kind of leadership program that I needed for myself to be able to develop myself so that I can lead in different aspects within my community. So that is really what made me apply for this program.
I mean, what I'm getting from the three of you is that, it sparked that passion in order to get involved in making a difference. Chris, for you, as someone who was already a staff member of the party, what was that moment that sparked the decision for you to apply for the GA Young Leaders Program?
I think, for me at the time, there's different sectors of society, there's different roles that different people play. And for me at the time, it was to say, well, I'm a staff member for the Democratic Alliance, and this program is open for staff members as well. How can I be the best staff member? How can I be the best support for the political structures around me, to hone my skills, to engage in debates? Because it's not always just about, making sure the T-shirts there are on time or the event is set up, but actively engaging in the construction of our country. And for me, that was really important at the time. So how can I do that better as an official of the party?
And that's fantastic. And there's no doubt that it has been very instrumental in launching all of your careers into the great heights that you now occupy. But if you were to assess, I mean, there are many leadership programs on the political landscape. What then makes the DA Young Leaders Program so unique and different from all the leadership programs that are currently out there?
If I track back again, Solly, I see that it's this holistic program that caters to so many aspects in terms of development, but also in training. And I must say this, I'm going to say it in front of everyone, that I didn't get into the program on my first attempt.
Yeah.
I applied and I was shortlisted and I didn't get in. And I spoke to former young leaders like the current city of Cape Town Mayor Jordan E. Lewis, together with MEC Dalen Mitchell, who was part of the program. And I fully understood that you try again, you persevere, because you have a passion and you want to make a difference in society. Hence, you are wanting to contribute. So even if someone has applied before, please consider applying again. You can only move forward with perseverance, with courage and the determination to effectively play a role in our society.
And that's a very important observation, because I saw Chris and Kachi nodding heads. Was it the same for you? Did you apply multiple times before you get in?
So for me, personally, I applied, I think, 3 times before I get into the program. And while it gave me so much reason to actually give up on it, but somehow it motivated me, because I realized that there was something so important about this program and so serious that I needed to persevere, as Minister Allen just said now. So I only got in on the 4th attempt. And to be honest, getting into the Young Leaders Program and having tried 3 times, I was quite very proud that I actually stayed consistent in making sure that even through the failing, I still managed to continue to apply, because when I got into the program, it did really meet my expectations. So it was all worth all the try.
Yeah. And Chris, for you, was it a case of twice, thrice, or?
For me, it was 3 times. So I got on my 3rd attempt. I think Saviwe actually sat on one of my panels at one stage. So I need to have a chat with her about how harsh she was. But anyway, I think also what was important for me was that on my first attempt, I had only recently just joined the Democratic Alliance. I was fresh out of student politics, and I was with another political organization in student politics. And there was such a warm reception. There wasn't, oh, look at your history, therefore, you're automatically excluded. It was, hey, listen, learn a bit more, get involved. Let's see what you're doing. Find out who you are as a person so that this program can benefit you the most, which was great. So it was almost as if my failure to get in prepared me even more for what I wanted from the program in future.
And I think from the three of you, man, heads off to you for the resilience and the perseverance from getting in, because looking at where you all are now, you know, I'm actually proud to be part of this program, but also to be part of the alumni with the cream of the crop like you. And Carli, how many times did you apply on your side?
So maybe I'm the odd one out here. I only applied once and I got in. I was very privileged. But I must say, I remember thinking, should I apply, should I not? So I was still then doing my postgrad LLB, still studying. And, you know, of course, you feel intimidated. You see these wonderful leaders making big waves in South Africa and they've done the program and you think, whoa, why can I do it? Will I be able? But I remember thinking, you want to make a change in South Africa, you know this is the best platform to do it. So throw yourself into it and go and learn, be willing to learn. And it was a life-changing opportunity for me. Absolutely. The fact that I learned so much, even just from my fellow participants who did the program with like Khathutshelo yourself, and with the coaches, even the mentors, I'm so glad I just took that leap of faith and applied, because here I am today, and I can say I'm not the person I am today without the Young Leaders program.
Solly, if I can maybe just say that there is normally a heated debate about the class that is seen to be the best.
So it's my class.
I would love to say that the class of 2012, if you look at Andrew Whitfield, a shadow minister in the NA, if you look at Luyolo, a shadow minister in the NA, and a former DA young leader for the DA youth, and which is amazing, and I'm going to say this, I need to say this.
Go for it.
The director, the person heading up this program, was part of the group in 2012 as well. And Lisa has been doing amazing things with this particular program, and she is a former DA young leader as well. So she knows exactly what is needed in order to produce the next group of leaders that are going to do amazing things. So I wanted to say well done to Lisa and for all her hard work in working with the DA young leaders since her appointment.
Well, I think that debate about classes will have to go to the inaugural class, you know. And I'm feeling like an ancestor, so you can't beat the class of 2007. We've got the mayor of Cape Town as a graduate of that class, and me, you know, so I think that argument will live forever, because even the next group will feel that, you know, they've got the best group that came out. But we did say from the onset that we'll be engaging with some of the callers and also viewers who are engaging us on our social media platforms. We do have the first one. I am told it's Jason from Bedford View. Jason?
Hi, panel. I was just wondering, can I apply for the program if I'm not a DA member or don't have any prior political involvement?
Reagen, do you just want to give that a shot?
Yes, please consider applying, because once your values and your principles are aligned to making this country better, which aligns to the DA, you would definitely have to consider to apply and see how you are able to broaden your horizons. You will meet fellow young leaders from across the country, from different backgrounds, different learnings, and you will be able to then add value but also contribute. So you don't need any you don't need to be a card-carrying member of the DA, and the party literally invest in young people that are aligned to our principles and to our vision of creating a better South Africa for all.
And I think Chris is living testimony of that. You know, he made reference earlier that at one of his previous attempts to apply, he was involved with a different political party. But the most important thing, you know, about qualifying is, you know, your values, as Reagen says, they've got to align with the vision that the DA has. You have to have a passion for public service and wanting to contribute in shaping the political landscape. And that's very important, because the next section of this discussion is going to be getting into the different components of the program and how it works. So as part of the DA Young Leadership Program, you'll have to attend 5 retreats that take place throughout the year. You'll also have to conceptualize and run your own leadership project, which will be a measure of your preparation in terms of organizing and executing a leadership program. You will be assigned a mentor that will guide you alongside this journey. And most importantly, you'll get a life coach, which, as we heard earlier from Carli, was very instrumental in helping with her improvement as an individual and becoming a better leader. But most importantly, the party will be covering all the costs that are associated with the program. And based on that, I just want to find out from you, Khathu, which component of the program was the most enjoyable for you and why?
I would say that when we had a session where we had a lady that took us through an Enneagram, I think that component was really special for me in a sense that it made me realize a lot of strength that I had previously. However, in the same spirit, it made me also, it highlighted a lot of my weaknesses that I was not aware of. And so through that opportunity, I at least got to learn onto how to navigate through my weaknesses. And I am able to apply such, skills that I learned from the Young Leaders Program today in my workplace. And so I think as a leader, it's quite very important to know yourself, your strength, your weaknesses, and the kind of leader that you are. And so I think the Enneagram really did help me a lot in that aspect.
Sure, Carli, I want to agree with you on that. Something that stood out for me was the coaching part, especially now being the youngest MMC for planning and also at my municipality. The coaching really helped me to work through just building that confidence, working with, you finding your inner strength and also how it is to think critically and also, being able to carry yourself and even to carry high stress situations. I'm now able to actually be a young leader in the municipality, but also to carry myself with strength and dignity because of this wonderful coaching I actually had.
Reagen, you mentioned earlier that, the retreats were your favorite. Just take us slightly into what happens at these retreats and why were they so enjoyable to you?
The retreats, once again, it is the best component of it because you actually look forward to the retreat.
Yeah.
And once you arrive on the Friday, you literally see like-minded people. You see people that are doing amazing things in their respective spheres where they are. And then you have those positive engagements and iron sharpens iron. You are able to debate, discuss matters, but also then expand your knowledge in a particular field. So I definitely enjoyed the retreats, and once you are done on a Sunday, you would then look forward to the next retreat. And maybe we can have more than 5 retreats, sorry, because I think it is so vital when we consider that for many of our people, you need mentors, and it takes a village to raise a child in many of our communities, but also that peer accountability, peer mentorship, where peers can come together and they can strategize, work on matters, and just discuss various issues affecting our country. So I definitely enjoyed the retreats. The food was amazing, which makes me hungry now during lunchtime.
We'll send you food.
But yes, but if there's any person, if you have a hunger to make a difference, if your heartbeat is that you want to see our country move forward, please apply and we can see you at one of the retreats.
And Chris, for you, what was your favorite component?
What Reagen doesn't tell you is that after those delicious dinners, there's usually a glass of wine. So I'm sure that is what he's alluding to. But it's great to sit with friends and talk. But I think if I can add to what friends have said is that, at no stage did I feel that I was during the program, that I was, someone was trying to make me into, a little DA robot and I'll come out there and just, preach, splutter, doesn't matter what the DA does wrong or if I disagree with anything or colleagues or friends, that's what someone was trying to produce. There's other leadership programs, political leadership programs out there that no matter what, happens or what discussions are happening in the country, you must defend, you must agree with, you come out and you try and you're this little, a yellow robot.
Yeah.
But at every step of the conversation, it was always, how do we engage constructively? How do we have debate? How do we differ? And that's sort of a lasting legacy that I've drawn from there as well, so I don't always have to agree with Reagen or anyone, but we can do so knowing that we come from a grounding of shared values, and that ultimately, whatever the discourse is, we want the same thing at the end. So that was really important for me as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Khathutshelo.
Maybe also just, if I can come back, I think one thing that also did stand out for me for the Dear Young Leaders class of 2020, I think it was also the amount of resilience that the class really shown. If you remember, we weren't in times where the country was now hit with COVID, something that was very new, something that none of us knew about it. We didn't know how to go forward, to continue. We couldn't have some of the retreat that were meant to take place. However, the class of 2020 made it work. We were faced with challenges that could have easily swayed us in a way of, giving up. But 20 of us ended up graduating in that year. We completed our project, and I think that really stood out for me. It inspired me that if these young people could pull through and rise above the challenges that they're facing, honestly, these are the leaders that will be leading our countries in the near future. So I think that really did stand out for me. The resilience that was shown was quite very amazing.
And that's a very important insight, because you were the first group that had to adjust to the program. And I think even to our support team who ran the Young Leaders program, it was a new territory for them. But they made it work. And I think resilience is a very important thing. But also, the program leverages everyone's strength. And that's why we're able to have this amazing pool. The one thing, though, that I'm curious about is many of us, when we do go into the program, we already have other things that we are doing in our lives, either as students, as professionals in our respective rights. So the program has a lot of deliverables. How do you balance that with the demands of your day-to-day life in your professional capacities? How did any of you do that?
I think it's so important to note that in terms of the life coach, that one is allocated, that person plays such a vital role, but then also in terms of the training and development that you get on the program, where we look at time management. It might seem that it's a one component on the time management, but then you take those learnings throughout your journey. And sorry, my days are currently more than 20 hours a day. And I see how time management is so vital towards needing to do what I need to do, because it can become quite extensive. But I think there's time management, but also how you get your political mentor. And I don't think this is being said enough, that the political mentor, the person will have experience, the person will be a public representative, and the person would have done so much that contributes to society. And that person would also be able to help and navigate all the responsibilities that you have. I know Carli is a superstar person that comes first attempt, and she was even a student at that time, so she would probably tell us about that as well.
Sure.
Yeah, Reagen, I must say, being a student, my personality is I want to do everything.
Yeah.
But I remember when I decided I want to do the DA Young Leaders program, I told myself, you're going to do your studies, you're going to focus on that, and you're going to do the Young Leaders programs. Because you also need to set yourself up for success. This is a vigorous program, and you want to get the most out of it. So I almost want to urge everyone, if you apply, make sure this is going to be one of your main focus, with your other priority being it your day job or being it your studies, so that you know you have a capacity to throw yourself into this, because it's such a great opportunity. So you need to be able to say, I'm going to prioritize this program for this year so that I can go full out.
And Chris, how did you juggle that?
Yeah, so I was going to say, at the end of the day, a lot of people apply for this program, and we've heard how, some people try 3 or 4 times. But ultimately, the people who are being chosen for this program every year is 20, of the best young people in South Africa, without blowing our own trumpets. It's a rigorous process, and you can see the spaces that we occupy. As Carli said, it's for change, it's for a difference. But also that you know, the DA as a political party is investing a lot of money, time and energy into the individuals that are part of this program. And behind that, and I think we must also be grateful, as Reagen's spoken about, the staff behind the program, is the people who fund this program as well. So these are, you know, everyday South Africans, business people who want to see young people succeed and want to see our country succeed and donate to this program so that we can have these experiences. So, you know, you have to take it seriously if you're chosen for it and dedicate the necessary time as you would with anything that's serious.
And Khathu, for you also, given that it was at the peak of COVID, how was that experience of juggling the program with your job?
So I think for me, one thing that I'm grateful for with regards to making it in the third time of trying is that I think it also required some sense of maturity, because there's a lot that really does take place. There's a lot of tests that you do in between. There's a lot of project that you need to do. There's a lot of traveling that also have to take place. And so I think it needed some sense of maturity and discipline and dedication, and also the willingness of wanting it. So I think at that time, it was at a point where I really wanted it. So I really did give it my entire focus, and I made sure that I prioritized it, because had it not been of that, I don't think I would have managed to be able to graduate. So I think it really requires discipline. You have to want it. So I think at my point, it was at a point where I was able to prioritize. I knew that I had work that I needed to do, but I also knew how important this program was for my personal growth.
One thing, if I can just jump in, Khathu mentioned something very vital now, that you need to want it. But one thing I also saw was that the group will actually spur one another on. You will actually motivate one another, and you will actually want to step up because you are seeing someone else is doing so amazing. Then you would want to bring your part as well. So it is that balance, getting your timing right, but then the energies within that group will also feed off one another, knowing that we all have the same vision, the same goal towards making our country a better country.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the party invests a lot in this because we take the program seriously. And when you look at the caliber of people that have come through the program and the impact that they are having in society, it is all credit to the individual resilience, the individual determination to do that, because we get hundreds, if not thousands, of applications every year, and annually only a select group of just over 20 get into the program. So you gotta apply yourself in order to make it work, and it is that self-determination that then will set you up for success, which is the next component of the program that we'll be discussing. Is how do you prepare yourself and take on to the program so that you can succeed and be like all four of you who have had illustrious careers, both in the lead up to the Young Leaders program, but most importantly, after you are here in the Young Leaders program. And Carli, I just want to find out for you, I mean, what was so good about the program that prepared you fully for your job as an MMC now?
Sure, I think there's a lot of things that the program trained me and allowed me to grow in as a leader. But I think something I would say is what we already, a lot of us said, Reagen said it, Khathu said it, is that resilience. It is to be a resilient leader in what you believe, to go for that, to be dedicated if you believe in it, and to really to run with it. And I think that even if we know election process, that's also, it's not an easy process.
Absolutely.
But if you've gone through something like the Young Leaders process, even just going through the process, you're already stronger because now you know why you want to do something. And if you know why you want to do something, you can really go for that. So I think where I'm now, I'm prepared to critically analyze and to run with the ideas and know what I want to do and to execute it. And that's really thanks to the Young Leaders program.
And I mean, for you, Chris, you know, you've taken over a municipality that was badly managed, and it's the first time that the DA has taken over the municipality. What prepared you best for this job when you look back at your journey in the Young Leaders program?
So, I mean, there's a lot of practical components to this course as well. I mean, I know during my time we did a media course where you would sit down and pretend media were asking you very difficult questions, and you had to, you know, you were opposing something that fundamentally you didn't believe in, but they forced you to do it so that you engaged with that. So those practical components, but also, as Carli has said, to trust yourself, to say, you know, there is a thought process behind everything that you do. And if you're able to rationalize, if you're able to process things in a rational way, considering all sides, considering all inputs, and you know, you learn those processes, you learn how to look at policy and stakeholders and media and, you know, news and whatever it might be, and then be confident that the decisions that you are making. So I think, yeah, that's that confidence in leadership, in making leadership decisions, because, you know, it is a lonely place at times, and it teaches you that it does, you know, it's okay to be lonely, but make sure that your decision processes, the way that you engage things is logical.
We've also seen in terms of the debate component that we live in a country where the level of debate is not always up to standard. But once you come via this particular program, the debate goes to a next level. You are able to analyze and strategically argue, because it is a contest of ideas. Absolutely. And once you're able to put those ideas on the table in a way where you are able to get the support. And I've seen this in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. When we debate, sadly, from the other side of the house, the level of debate doesn't always come across as very analytical, but also not as very constructive. So we would want to make sure that it's a contest of ideas. You are able to debate matters in a way that the voters can ultimately see what's on the table, so that people are able to vote effectively leading into an election. So debate prepared me fully. I used to be a very shy person, Solly.
Shy, and you.
And so
even Chris can't buy that.
So, and to be able to then take an idea, you can look at it from all angles. Absolutely. Whether you oppose or whether you are for something. And once you see it from all angles, you then put the offer on the table in line with our policies and with our values, and argue that in a way that it resonates with people, because the need is big. And if we consider how important it is to discuss matters, so the debate component I enjoyed.
Solly, can I add maybe one more thing?
Yeah.
I think something I would also like to add is the program actually taught me to take ownership. Ownership of course, your life and your vision, but you have to do your own project, a leadership project, and you have to run with that, and you need to believe in it, and you need to carry that through. And it really taught me to, if you want something, you need to make it your own, and then you need to go with it. You need to start like almost with a debate, but also in being able to articulate your vision. You need to share that vision with others so that they can buy into your vision. But you first of all need to take ownership of your project, and in the end, we all need to take ownership of our country, no matter the state that it is in.
That's a very important observation. And Khathu, for you, what were the most important learnings from your journey during the Young Leaders Program?
I would say that communication skills, and this is something that I must be honest, very honest. Today I'm sitting in this platform, having accepted this invitation, and previously, before the Dear Young Leaders Program, I rejected anything that had to do with media. I declined with so much confidence, and it's because I lacked confidence myself. But for me, sitting here today, doing this live session, it's actually the work of the Dear Young Leaders Program. So the opportunity really boosted my confidence, in a sense that now I am self-aware of my strength as well as my weakness. So I think the communication skills, as well as the speech writing, because in the industry that we work in, there's a lot of writing that takes place. So having someone that will constructively give you feedback on the things that you write really did help a lot. So today I'm able to put down my statement. I'm able to write my own opinions. And so it really contributed positively, and I can see it impacting on my work life.
I mean, that's a very
Can I make a comment on what what all the panelists have said? It's about debate, about confidence, about engaging. So as part of the program, some of the senior party leaders will come and address you, and you have an opportunity to engage with them. And as young people, generally, one of our responsibilities to society is to challenge the status quo, to challenge what exists. And we were able to do that openly. You know, we had the party leader, I think at that stage, we had the Premier of the Western Cape, and you could differ. You could have a difference of opinion and know that tomorrow you're not going to suddenly, find yourself removed as an MMC or whatever it might be, as you see happening in the news when, political shifts happen, because you had a difference of opinion. But more importantly was perspective. So sometimes, we get stuck in our own view of something. But then to be challenged and to challenge different perspectives from your colleagues and from senior politicians was fantastic.
Solly, I want to say the way I'm listening to everyone, I feel even I want to reapply because it's so amazing. But within this party, there's always opportunities. We've had our opportunity. So if you are still sitting on the fence, like Solly said earlier, please apply.
And I think, to add to that, one of the things that we always get, reviewed on, people are amazed that the DA is able to debate so well in parliament and in the provincial legislatures and councillors, is truly because the program tries to replicate as much reality as possible in terms of what happens on our national political landscape. And also even the written exercises that we do prepares those that also go on to work in the private offices of MMCs and mayors with the speech writing. So it is really the ideal ground that trains, develops, and sharpens one's skills. And, now we'll be going into the next section, which will be talking about what then happens after you have sent in your application, so that for our aspirant applicants, they can have a sense of the detailed process that happens once they've sent that application through. So one of the key questions that we keep getting is what happens after you have sent your application. So we'll quickly give you a rundown of what happens step by step to lead up to your application getting into our folder and it being considered. So all applications must consist of an application form. They must also be accompanied by a 60 seconds long video and a letter of reference. That letter of reference must not be older than 3 months. And applications, and this is important, applications will close on the 31st of August 2022. All candidates who have then completed their applications will get an invite inviting you to complete a written assessment, which will all be online. And that assessment will then be used, to determine the applications that are being filtered. And once the applications are then filtered, the successful applicants will be invited to the final stage of selection, which is the interviews. From those interviews that are being conducted, the successful applications will then be invited to join the group for the 2023 Young Leaders Program, who will be those young people that would have been selected from the thousands of young, innovative, dynamic South Africans who want to make a difference on our political landscape. And as I did say during the start of the program, that we are trying to take as much input from those of you that are watching from home, from watching from our social media platforms. So we'll now go over and listen to one of the callers. I think this time we've got Jessica, who's from Kimberley in the Northern Cape.
What kind of questions will you be asking during an interview portion of an application process?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I mean, I remember my preparation for the Young Leaders interview, but, I think it's more important to get insights from our panelists in terms of what did you do to prepare yourself for the Young Leaders interview, and what was that preparation like?
I think one of the first questions, if I remember correctly, was that why? Why did you apply? And I think it's so vital for us to know our why, what motivates us to apply, and then obviously why the DA.
I cannot agree more with Reagen, and I think you need to know why you want to do this program, because if you don't buy it, why will the panel buy it as well? And even I read up on all the news, made sure I knew everything, or even knew all the DA policies, and that's great, and that's always good. That's always something that can help you. But it comes down to, why do you want it? How will you make use of this opportunity, and why will you be a good investment as a leader that's going to change South Africa?
And for you, Chris?
So, I mean, both colleagues have covered, the main components, but we must never lose sight of the fact that this is a program that exists in the space of social change. So if you're not socially aware of what's happening around you, whether it's what's in the news, what's being written, the challenges of the day, because those questions will come up. What do you think the challenges, or what do you think the solutions are to X problem that the country faces? So, be prepared, be informed about the country's opportunities and challenges.
And Khathu, what was your process like?
So I remember getting a very controversial question. I will not mention it, but I think in a nutshell, I agree with the colleagues that with everything that they just said now. But for me, I think this is where you need to come as you are. You need to be as true to yourself as much as you come into the interview. You need to be as authentic, because this is where we try to see who you are, your beliefs, your values, your principles. So there's no need for you to go and cram or practice, and we just want to see or test your abilities and what you want out of contributing towards building South Africa. So I think, authenticity for me is one thing that really does stand up through the interviews and assessments.
So I think what's also important is that, I mean, we've all said it, is that, that this is, you don't have to believe in everything that's on the DA's website or cram it or whatever, but you must have a value set is the same.
Absolutely.
So don't be disappointed if you come and you oppose without reasonable, debate something that is, fundamentally very different to what this program is trying to achieve. So if you have difference of opinions, be able to debate it, motivate it in your interview. Don't just simply be dismissive of something. So I mean, there has to be that realization as well, that this is not a program for EFF members who are completely entrenched and going to defend wrong. There's a center of South African politics, and we all have different visions of what that center looks like. But debate it, talk about it, share your visions of what that means in your interview.
Absolutely. And both of you has mentioned a very important element, which is authenticity. All of us, we are individuals, and we've got unique features, dynamic skills and expertise and prospects that make us different from the next applicant. And the most important thing is leverage your individual authenticity, because that's what's going to differentiate you from the next person. And that is a very important thing to take into this, because we are looking towards the next generation of leaders, putting together all those people so that we can have a combined pool that will ultimately make a big difference in this. And I just want to thank you guys for joining in this discussion, for sharing in your insights. Do you have any final words for our applicants?
I would say, please, if you are still sitting on the fence after watching this, please apply. Please get your letter of reference. Make sure that you are engaged socially and that you are already contributing. But please apply, and even if you don't get in, please try again, because we need young leaders that will ultimately stand the test of time, and that I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'm going to invite myself to the next retreat, and the mayor, Chris, can also join so that we can get another retreat, and if we are invited, and I'm trusting that Lisa is watching this.
Yeah, and thanks for that. But before the others join in, I think we've got a last caller who's watching and got a question. I'm told we've got Mamusa from Soweto in Gauteng. What was your question, Mamusa?
Hi, I just wanted to check, what advice would you have for someone like me who's just read about this program? How should I prepare myself, or what should I anticipate? What advice would you have for us first-time applicants for this program? Thank you so much.
Thanks for that. Khathu, do you want to kick off that?
Sure. I think for me, it's for them to be able to believe in South Africa and also believe in themselves and come as vulnerable as they can be. I think there's no wrong or right answer. We want young South Africa that believes that they have something that they can offer and contribute into building or shaping this country. So I think that's the advice that I can give, that we need more ideas. We need more young people that will be involved. We don't only need people that comes from the DA, but everyone that has values and principles that are aligned to the DA of moving South Africa forward. Thank you.
Cool. And for you, Carli?
I think my best advice would be for someone who's on the fence or applying for the first time is, if you want to see South Africa be changed, don't wait. Be the first one to put your hand up and say, I want to contribute to change, and apply to the DA's Young Leaders Program.
And once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. You have made this discussion far much fun than I thought it was going to be. Chris, down there in uMngeni, we love the job that you're doing there, so keep going. Khathutshelo, you've got an amazing opportunity there in the city of Ekurhuleni, being part of the team that makes the coalition work. So that resilience, that determination, keep going. And Reagen, you've got a very important job this side. Keep the streets safe, keep the Western Cape safer. We need that safety for investment, to come here so that our economy keeps growing. And the same applies to you in Carli, in your role in Stellenbosch. Let's keep making that difference and being the change that we all want to be to see South Africa work. So there you have it, folks. You've heard from all these amazing DA young leaders who are making a difference in our communities. That brings us to the end of our broadcast, sadly, but a big thank you to my panelists who have made time for this to share their insights. Thank you so much to all of you who have joined us from our social media platforms. But please remember, applications for the DA Young Leaders Program close at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 31 August 2022. You can apply by visiting our website, www.youngleaders.za. Now more than ever, we need young leaders who will stand up. So please apply for the DA Young Leaders Program, be the change South Africa needs, and be part of the solution. Enjoy your day.